Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
Gaardsy, I just tell you there's some big stuff brewing regarding the newest incantation of the Hoos, of Panakuchen Hoos. All I can say right now is
that right?
Stay tuned. All of our loyalty, all of our dedication to the Panakuchen Hoos history goes back decades on this show, all the way back, I think, to Chad Barrero days. St. Louis Park, about to be rewarded, I think is the best way to put it. More to come on this latest edition of the Hoos, shall we say. The rebranding of the Hoos.
I wait with bated breath.
I think we all should.
I wait with bated breath. Let's go out to Egan, where I found the needle in the haystack. Kevin O'Connell. The question was talking about joint practices, and if you have to maybe talk to rookies in particular about what's important in terms of these practices for you making the team and not making the team.
Yeah, you're gonna earn a job and you're gonna earn a place on our team by demonstrating your ability to play at a high level in between the whistles. All the other stuff, the analogy I always use is I would prefer Rottweilers over Chihuahuas. You know, if you've ever walked by a Rottweiler sitting on the front porch, doesn't have to say a whole lot. But if it needs to, it can do a whole lot. And then the vice versa, the Chihuahua that's barking at you from their side of the fence, the entire walk by, how intimidating is that? Take some of the guys out here, and there's all pro players on their team. There's guys that have played at a very high level for a really long time. Those aren't the ones that you normally see. It's normally really what we've seen within some of our own practices where it's gotten to the line or even past it. It's with players 55 through 90 on the roster that, it can be a thin line between what is play style and toughness and then the stuff that comes on top of that. There's just no place for it.
I eagerly await the KOC mea culpa tomorrow via written statement apologizing to the Chihuahua community. It's coming because people, when it comes to their own dogs, they are defensive. They are very loyal.
Yep.
And so the implication that some yip dog Chihuahua just making a lot of noise, just making a nuisance out of itself, will be answered by the Chihuahua community. They will be demanding, if they haven't already, an apology, no matter KOC's intent, from the Minnesota Vikings, if it has not already come. I cannot wait for the KOC backpedal in the pressure tomorrow before day 2 of the joint practices.
Hey, before we get going, guys, just a quick update. We ended early last night, 2 o'clock, went home, actually went for a walk in my neighborhood, heard, because that's what it is.
Yes.
It's his neighborhood. He's walking a convention grill.
Yes.
And he's just trying to go for a walk with his family, and the Chihuahuas, probably to the neighborhood stores. I assume KOC lives within walking distance of a lot of great spots where he lives. And the Chihuahuas are barking at him. It is a great analogy. He's right. The yip dogs, like you say.
The moment I knew, as a member of Chad Barrero, that Common was going to be a legend at this station and be a key contributor forever was the time I heard him do a bit about, you're deep in thought about something. There's some philosophical question, maybe even some crisis you're dealing with in your life, and you're debating it, the pros and the cons of it. You're very seriously and very quietly walking along, just trying to sort through everything that's in your head, and you happen to walk by a car in which there's a yip dog that out of nowhere jumps at you through a window and just starts the yip dog barking. It was a brilliant bit that I remember to this day. And that's basically what KOC was saying, is that there's just too much noise. But again, the Chihuahua community will say, you're stereotyping my animal.
Yep.
That's not fair. That's not what the Chihuahua is about.
You thought the Yokiro Taco Bell thing was controversial for the Chihuahua community.
That's correct. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Common did that same bit today about 2:15.
He might have.
I think he did it last week, too.
He might have.
I'm pretty sure.
Very possible.
So what happened on the field today? Well, it doesn't sound like much for our team. We're going to talk to Alec Lewis in about 20 minutes. Things didn't really pick up for the Purple until the 2-minute drill when I guess Kyler had a really nice pass to Justin Jefferson. JJ got to Gritty. Kyler ran all the way down. Kevin Seifert talks about rare emotion from Kyler Murray, who arced a deep pass in the corner. Watched JJ run through a double team for a touchdown. Murray ran all the way down to the end zone to celebrate. Apparently, JJ McCarthy had a good pass in that situation as well. So, sounds like the defense has won the day for joint practice number 1 with the Baltimore Ravens today. Any deep thoughts you want to get to on that?
Well, yeah, and apparently in the before the I guess you could say the 2-minute drill version, we were alarmingly bad offensively, and Kyler did not look particularly good. That doesn't necessarily have to mean anything. The good news is, I guess, is their snaps were better, because that was another complaint, was that Brandell was having difficulty.
Yeah, it's true.
Executing some snaps. Were they talking about from the gun, or were they just talking about from under center?
I think it was the gun.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, KOC mentioned that today as well, that they wanted to fix that. So hopefully they did. Another practice tomorrow.
Wow, there's a lot of solidarity with KOC for his anti-Chihuahua position, by the way, via the text line. A lot of people saying, you go,
yeah,
KOC.
Well, here's the thing. KOC would not like living on my block because we have
a lot of Chihuahuas?
No, we have a 1-year-old golden retriever.
Oh. Well, they're not that.
Our dog.
Yippee.
Our dog is the most annoying dog in the history of dogs,
really?
I think. Now, my family doesn't appreciate when I say that, but I'll let him out in the morning.
Yeah, Goldens are not capable of being obnoxious, I don't think.
Come on over.
All right.
Here, do this. Go for your morning walk by our house.
It will be
your nice, peaceful,
it will be interrupted.
Your nice, peaceful morning walk where you're trying to get your thoughts together, your show thoughts together, everything together. Walk by our house when our Golden's just sitting there. And he never stops barking. He will bark. I don't let him out until like 8,
yeah, but he doesn't yip. He's got a real bark because he's a real dog.
Which I think is more annoying.
Well,
because it's loud and people are just trying to walk their dogs and go about their business. He barks at everybody. He's the most annoying dog ever.
Now, you might have to train that out of him.
I don't think it can. I think that's just who he is. He's the exact opposite of our old dog who didn't care about anybody. Wouldn't bark at anybody, wouldn't yell at anybody, wouldn't play fetch, just whatever. So I feel like I'm not in a good position to talk about it because I feel like we have the annoying dog on the neighborhood. But that's just me. Maybe I'm just self-conscious about it. Maybe
you might. I think you're probably, you're trying to be responsible, and I think you might be more concerned than the average Rube is. Yeah. I think generally most people view the animal, the breed is a good one, so they're willing to put up a little bit more
he's a great dog.
Than a dog that's identified as a yip dog.
Yeah, he's a great dog, but he's annoying. Don't think you're going to walk by our house in peace. He's going to let you know about it. Cody Clemens back at it. Brooks Lee, he had an RBI single as well. And that Cody Clemens and Brooks Lee in the 7th got the Twins back in front. They were up 4-1 this afternoon against the Braves. Atlanta tied it up at 4. But then it was Clemens and Lee putting them back in front. Clemens, by the way, drove in 3 runs on the day. Kalen Culpepper, the new guy, had 3 hits. And the Twins sweep the Braves out of town. Minnesota now 63-65 after a real rough patch of baseball where they lost 10 of 14, had a couple of 4-game losing streaks, entered this series on a 3-game losing streak. They get 3 in a row for Mike Yeo. And as I pull up the wild card standings on the fly, are tied with the Texas Rangers with a .492 winning percentage for the 3rd and final wild card spot in the American League. Texas, by the way, are they playing tonight? Let me see. Yes, are playing a little bit later tonight against the Nationals, so they could jump back ahead by a half game. Twins have tomorrow off. That's why Aaron Gleeman will be in studio at 4 before heading to San Diego to take on the Padres Friday night.
Interesting. Well, a good rebound, a good resurgence at a point where I was kind of tempted to give last rites to this team, that we were headed that direction. That's sort of been their nature this whole year, right? Is they've been one of the streakier teams, Twins teams I can remember. They've had stretches all season where they don't even look like they're worthy of any discussion. And then they get hot enough to where they get back in it, and then they have the added gift, of course, a bad league, that has made it almost impossible to fall out of contention. Then again, as we laid out, and in fact, let me see if I have the, I printed this sheet about how many teams are bunched up in relatively close position. All within 3 games of each other. All of these teams are within 3 games of each other. Rangers, Twins, Blue Jays, Guardians, Orioles, Tigers, and the Mariners, who just got edged 22-0. Now, they're bringing up the rear in that regard. Then there's a big separation after that. Royals, Angels, Athletics, even in this league, are hopelessly buried. But it's the risk of assuming that, right there, we're tied or we're half a game out, is if you're going to keep being streaky, you're going to be contending with a bunch of other teams. It's not simply how far, if you're not very far behind, it's because of the win-lose nature of the way most of these teams play. You got to jump over a bunch of teams, and somebody's going to get hot enough, somebody's going to get cold enough. So we'll see where it goes from here, but a crucial turnaround, no doubt, at a key moment. We'll see if they can. Who do we have next?
The Padres.
Padres next, yeah. If they're able to sustain anything.
The top 2 teams in the WNBA meet tonight in San Francisco, Davie. The Golden State Valkyries are 25-9 on the season. Second place to your Minnesota Lynx. The Lynx are 29-7. Minnesota's won 4 in a row. Golden State has won 6 in a row. We are 3 games ahead of them right now for the number 1 position. And I need to apologize to the Lynx broadcasting community. You can listen to tonight's game, Dan, right here on The Fan. You can watch it on Victory Plus. You can watch it on USA, but you can also listen to tonight's game right here on The Fan. It is a 9 o'clock tip-off from San Francisco. Best 2 teams in the league.
9 o'clock?
Could be another statement game for the Lynx. They've had these little litmus test games.
Yeah, sure.
Hot teams come in. We just kind of cast them aside. We're in the belly of the beast now. Golden State, they just got awarded the All-Star game for next year. They basically sold out every game. It's the den, as Flip would have called it. It's a house of pain. They are 15-4, are the Valkyries at home, and the Lynx have that challenge tonight. And
we remain, knock on wood, extremely healthy, right? Yeah. Now that Collier has recovered, we're a pretty healthy club.
We are.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's been an important part of the equation. All right, that's 5?
It's 5.
Close enough. We got Alec Lewis in about 15 minutes. We got some text to bounce off of as well. 64686, the Bradshaw and Bryant toxic text line, as we now very lovingly call it, almost each and every single day. Back in just a minute.
You're listening to Barrero on The Fan.
From the 1-800-ASK Gary Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored.
Lewis coming up in about 10 or 15 minutes. He was there to chronicle the joint practice sessions involving the Vikings and, of course, the Baltimore Ravens, part 2 tomorrow. And then, obviously, the 2 teams will then, I guess you could say, square off for our second of 3 preseason games, correct?
Saturday noon.
That one's a home game, right?
It is.
Yeah. Is this the game? Which game is the one where KOC is part of the broadcast? Is it the third one?
Yes, against the Broncos.
Okay.
This week will be...
Is there any chance for your satisfaction, to your liking, that we might mic up the Denver Broncos head coach for a quarter? Would you enjoy that?
Oh, that'd be good.
You'd love that, wouldn't you?
Great stuff. Man, Sean Payton, who wouldn't want to hear what he has to say?
Guy knows ball. He picked the right quarterback.
We'll see.
Jury's still out, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it looks kind of one-sided right now.
Well, I'm not saying
change.
I'm not saying our quarter that we nailed it.
Yeah.
I think that would be stupid.
On the astute or asinine question, sounds like this is just talking about walkable cities like they have everywhere in Europe. Yeah, obviously the happiness of the average American would increase. Very astute, not asinine. Yeah, and again, details matter, right? I mean, if you have a complication where a location ends up being a place people congregate and potentially that leads to problems, then it don't feel too astute, right? There's no question. But more generally, I think some sense of activity, stuff around you, I think is good for the blood most of the time. Although there are people who want to, withdraw from pretty much anything. How many texts do you guys get a day through the text line? I've never counted them up. Some days more than others. We get a bunch.
Yeah, it's a lot.
We get a lot.
I don't even know what the number would be.
And that doesn't even count all the people we block.
It's true.
So
it's a lot of those.
That makes it even more difficult to say exactly how many might be in the mix. And then it depends on the subject, right? If it's a hot subject, there's gonna tend to be more, and if there's something political, it's even more likely that it's going to go up pretty significantly. I'm sorry, listening to KFC talk about anything is painful. I don't believe he can carry on a normal conversation. I imagine him whipping up a big word salad at the dinner table with the family and the kids just staring off into space.
Come on.
Give me monotone Chili any day. At least he said something. Did Chili say that much?
Brad Childress?
Now, Chili probably had... He wasn't as pleasant. He could come off more defensive. He didn't smile as much as KOC does. But in the end, didn't Chili often give us his own version of word salad?
And that's
Do you want to go down that road? I actually like the Chihuahua thing. I thought by KOC standards it was vivid.
I thought that was great.
For him, I thought that was pretty good. And again, I fully expect some backpedal when he tells us about all the emails the Vikings received from Chihuahua owners. There's no breed that is not unfairly stereotyped, because we've been through this before on this show, in which there's not a rebellion from people who have that breed of dog.
We respect our friends in the bird community.
There it is. The Cocker Spaniel community has come at us from time to time. How many breeds, owners of different breeds, have come after us? Many. Because in some cases, the narrative surrounding a given breed is probably unfair. And it has become conventional wisdom. And people take that stuff very seriously.
They do, because it's personal.
It's very personal.
Yes.
That's exactly it. And so I'm hoping, KOC does get some pushback from the Chihuahua community. How many people actually have pet Chihuahuas? Is the Chihuahua considered a popular dog breed in 2026? Or is it just there because it's there? We like to say Chihuahua. And like every other breed, are there mix? I mean, what's the most popular? Is there a popular mix, Chihuahua and what, that might make it less yippy? Because that would be, I think, the ideal, would it not?
Well,
less yippy Chihuahua.
Here's another good question, because I just Googled how many people own a Chihuahua.
Okay.
Top 5 dumbest things I've ever Googled, probably in 20 plus years here. One of the questions that come up: how many people own just one Chihuahua? A
little more expensive, but well worth it.
A lot of times Chihuahuas, they come in pairs.
Yeah, they do.
You've got a couple of them to yip at each other. So according to La Voce di New York.com, the lifestyle section, this is a couple of years ago, around 49 million families own dogs. And 4% of U.S. dogs are Chihuahuas.
4%.
Yeah. I'm not going to do the math. So that would seem to be light, The
breed that intrigues me more with each month that goes by, that I never used to be that interested in, Greyhound.
The Greyhound.
There's something about the look of the Greyhound, the inner piece of the Greyhound, or am I romanticizing the Greyhound? Are they actually out of control? Your average greyhound, well-behaved or not?
I feel like they're a little rambunctious.
Really?
Yeah, but I have nothing to back that up. So this same story has the top 5 dog breeds in each state.
Okay.
What's the number 1 dog? Now, this is 2 years ago.
In Minnesota?
In Minnesota. What's the number 1 breed?
The Golden.
You nailed it. Number 2.
Irish Wolfhound.
Not in the top 5.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit too... I think they're very big, aren't they? I'm going to say number 2 to the Golden would be the Lab.
No.
Labrador Retriever.
Golden Doodle.
Golden Doodle's big.
Yeah,
that's
Doodles are
Lori's.
big. Yes.
Right?
Yeah, the Doodles are on a run right now.
They're way too fashionable for me.
Agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Now, I say that I have the number 1 dog breed. So I have...
Yeah, but it's a purebred at least.
Yeah, he is.
Golden, right?
German Shepherd is 3. Shih Tzu is 4.
German Shepherd's 3?
According to this story.
I had a bad experience with the German Shepherd once.
Just once?
And I ended up with a gash on my head. Had to go to the emergency room, stitches, the whole bit, yeah.
And then Chihuahua is the 5th most popular breed in Minnesota.
Are you serious?
According to this story.
Why? It must be the size. People like smaller dogs, and it is a smaller dog.
You can bring it around. Yep.
Why not get a Basset Hound then if you want small? Now they're not. I mean they're not tall. I mean they can be sizable, I guess. What's wrong with a Basset Hound? How about a Bloodhound?
I'm not seeing that on any list.
Oh.
Indiana, the Chihuahua is the number 1 dog.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Illinois, it's 4. What other states do you want me to look at? I mean, I could look at all of them. Maryland, their number 1 dog is a Yorkshire Terrier.
I'm not a big terrier guy.
See, I'm not a dog guy, so I don't really know all the breeds very well. Like, I kind of bought into Goldens.
Are you familiar with the Chiweenie?
I'm not.
The Chiweenie is apparently a Chihuahua crossed with a Dachshund.
I thought that was Wednesday in St. Paul. It's not? It was kind of a stretch.
Might have been a little bit. Yeah. Huh. Well, there you go. I had no idea. That's the mix.
The Chiweenie.
The Chiweenie. A Chihuahua mixed with a Dachshund. That wouldn't have been my first choice either, I don't think. My daughter has 2 Chihuahua pug mixed dogs. Yippy as hell. See, to me, if you're going to mix a Chihuahua, you want to mix it with a dog that makes it a little less yippy, don't you?
Probably.
Otherwise, what's the point? Just stay with a Chihuahua.
Mm-hmm. State of Washington, Chihuahua number 1. West Virginia,
how about
Chihuahua
Indiana?
Number 1. Indiana is Chihuahua.
Oh, you said that already. Yeah, you did. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Is Alec Lewis a dog owner or dog lover?
Well, I know this. He's from Alabama, and Chihuahua is number 1 in Alabama as well.
God, what's with the Chihuahua love? Well, maybe he'll explain it.
They like to carry him
Did
around.
Bear Bryant have a Chihuahua? Is that what this all goes back to?
It probably does.
The Bear?
Yeah.
Big Chihuahua fan?
You'll have to ask him.
We'll find out much more from Alec Lewis. You have questions for him, Vikings related. 646-86. That, of course, is the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN Toxic text line. Plenty of conversation next with Alec.
This is Bumper to Bumper with Dan Barrero on The Fan.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Presented by Capital.
Yeah, you're gonna earn a job and you're gonna earn a place on our team by demonstrating your ability to play at a high level in between the whistles. All the other stuff, the analogy I always use is I would prefer Rottweilers over Chihuahuas. You know, if you've ever walked by a Rottweiler sitting on the front porch, doesn't have to say a whole lot. But if it needs to, it can do a whole lot. And then the vice versa, the Chihuahua that's barking at you from their side of the fence, the entire walk by, how intimidating is that?
Those were the words earlier today of Kevin O'Connell, and our next guest might have been there for them. Alec Lewis covers the National Football League and the Vikings for the Athletic. I'll ask, this is my toss-up question. By tomorrow and the next KOC presser, can we assume that he will be forced to issue an apology to the Chihuahua community.
It was so funny. First, thanks for having me, by the way. But it was so funny because I had arrived late to the press conference because I was having a conversation with a Ravens coach. And then, like, one of the first questions produced that response, and he starts talking about Chihuahuas. And I had to look up. I was like, what is happening right now? Randy Moss was, like, hovering above on the balcony with Pete Bursick, of all people. There was a lot going on. But, yeah, to follow up on the Rottweiler and Chihuahua description, it's definitely high on the list moving forward. There's no question.
For the record, by the way, I got a text last segment from John Millay, who wrote this regarding Chihuahua behavior. We have a Chihuahua wiener dog mix, which means the worst of both breeds, which I thought was a pretty honest, non-defensive observation. We may be talking to John Millay soon anyway. All right, so you're there for the first of 2 days, the joint practices. The conventional wisdom was that our offense looked hideous until we got to the 2-minute drill, and then we got some stuff going. Is that an apt summation? Was it more complicated than that? What did those of us who missed it, what did we miss?
Yeah, that is an absolutely correct evaluation of what I saw with my two eyes at the TCO Performance Center today. I'll just say this. Yeah, I mean, for most of the team periods between the Vikings offensive starters against the Ravens, defensive starters, the passing game, I mean, really, and the running game, frankly, both struggled mightily to just establish any level of consistency. I would say there were some muddy pockets where Kyler Murray, it felt late on some throws. There were a couple early downfield throws that seemed to fall short. I mentioned the run game, but I talked to Brian O'Neill after practice, and he just said it felt to him like they were not attacking and flying off the ball the way they wanted to against the types of looks that they were getting. So, yeah, until the very end where Kyler Murray hit Justin Jefferson on a kind of a beautiful throw moving to his left, and then J.J. McCarthy hit Miles Price over the middle. Until those eruptions of positive energy, it was a slog. There's just no doubt about it.
Would you say it was a slog both ways, that our defense dominated their offense, or did they look a little bit better during that same stretch?
No, I'd say it went both ways.
Yeah.
Coach after the practice, and I think the coach words were, we needed what we just saw, but it sounded like, and my eyes were mostly focused on the Vikings offense and Kyler Murray, but it did sound like Brian Flores was, as he tends to do, letting it rip from a blitz standpoint and barring or excusing a few checkdowns for Lamar Jackson to Rashad Bateman. There just wasn't much going. Now, there were a couple snaps where I did see Derrick Henry break through a little bit, but yeah, I would just say for the most part, my evaluation was that the offenses seemed to really struggle for the most of the day.
Philosophically speaking, we hear coaches say this all the time since we've gone to these joint practice matchups, that's really where we can be more serious and learn more for a given stretch than we can through most preseason games. Why has that become fashionable? What is it about that approach? Because, again, there's certainly there's always concern about injury in preseason, but I would assume games, there could just as easily be the same risk if you're going, quote-unquote, all out during these joint practices. So why have more and more coaches, it seems, gravitate towards these joint practice sessions more than they tend to actual preseason games?
Yeah, the most clear answer is just that it gives them control. It gives them control over personnel on the field. It gives them control on the types of situations. Like, Kevin O'Connell meets with the opposing coach, in this case, Jesse Minter of the Ravens, and they go through the planning for both 2 days of, okay, here's when we want to work red zone. Here's when we're going to work third down. Here's when it's going to be kind of backed up, early down sequencing. And so you can really just orchestrate what you want. And as you know very well, Dan, these coaches like control over everything they can possibly control. And that would include the types of work that they're going to get. But you're not wrong in that. I mean, I believe the Ravens starting center, his last name's Pinter, today fell down, had to be carted off the field, and it just did not look good at all. And so you do definitely run the risk of the same types of injuries that happen through preseason games. So, yeah, it's interesting that the NFL and specific coaches, including Kevin O'Connell, have gravitated towards valuing these practices as much as they do. But there's no question, it's not lip service. These 2 days for Kevin O'Connell are the most important evaluation point of the preseason.
How do you think the Vikings and KOC in particular are attempting to manage the so-called backup quarterback situation? The assumption being Kyler is definitely going to start. And now the new question is more, well, if they're really serious about this season being important, even if they don't want to give up on McCarthy, can they really say with a straight face or believe that the best case approach is for McCarthy to remain the backup as opposed to the obviously more experienced Carson Wentz being the best choice as the backup quarterback? How are we going to manage this thing, and what do you make of what the head coach had to say in that regard today?
Yeah, Kevin Seifert of ESPN asked Kevin O'Connell to essentially just clarify the answer that he gave last week when I asked whether or not J.J. McCarthy would be the backup. And it was, in some ways, a clarifying answer, in other ways, kind of a meandering answer where he did say that J.J. McCarthy was indeed the number two and has been working with the twos. But in that same answer, he also did mention Carson Wentz and Max Brosmer. I can tell you this, today, the only two quarterbacks that got work were Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy. Yeah. And so, I do think that is notable considering how important how much they value these 2 days. But it also for me, it goes down the road of, okay, how willing is Carson Wentz going to be, or how willing is Carson Wentz to being a third-string quarterback entering this point of his career? And if he is not willing, then is it going to come to a point at which the Vikings have to make a decision of parting ways with him or what have you? So, that's where my mind goes, and there's obviously not a ton of time here. So the way I've talked about it, since Tuesday of last week is the way that I will still talk about it, in that this is on J.J. McCarthy to prove to the Viking staff that, and really everyone in the building, that he is worthy of a position that requires a lot of trust. And ultimately, if the Vikings deem that he is not, and they either shift him to the third quarterback or trade him elsewhere, I do think it will then lend itself to questions of why did Carson Wentz not get opportunities this week in the event that he's needed. So I know that's a lot there, but that's kind of how I'd conceptualize it to this point.
It's an interesting way to put it, because all along what we've talked about is, well, how's McCarthy going to be if he gets further demoted to 3, and might his agent say, come on, it's obvious, let's just let the kid go. But I hadn't thought about the possibility in the interim of Wentz's people saying, come on, guys, we don't expect him to be the starter, but he's towards the end here, and he's got to play somewhere as a backup. And if you're not going to give him a chance to at least be that, then give us a chance to figure out someplace where there might be a team perfectly willing to put him in that role.
Yeah, I mean, and he had other opportunities. I believe, before he signed with the Vikings, the New York Jets were in some ways interested in Carson Wentz. And I mean, considering how some of these teams value the backup quarterback position, because Carson Wentz proved last year that he could man that spot with very minimal reps. Like, perhaps you could acquire, I mean, if you're the Vikings, you could move him for a certain level of draft capital. But again, it does, like, until the Vikings reach September 13th against the Green Bay Packers, and it is very clear on the depth chart who is active and who is not. Like, I do think this is an important and relevant conversation. And like, I just should say by addendum, Kevin O'Connell has said frequently that, like, we know Carson, as he proved last year, he doesn't need a ton of reps if required or if necessitated. But, like, as an analyst, you're like, but wouldn't it benefit him and the team to have a certain amount of reps if he is in that spot? So it's going to be interesting regardless in terms of how it plays out.
Assumption here is that we probably have seen the last of Kyler in the preseason games. I don't know if that's true, but if we assume that, and we assume, whether it's fair to Wentz or not, that they know he can be a legitimate backup. He's been around. He doesn't really need all that much time. Do the Vikings throw McCarthy out there a lot just to give him the reps? What do we expect in that regard the last two preseason games?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, and I don't have the answer as far as what their plans are for this upcoming Saturday. But I mean, look, there's probably an upside and a downside to providing J.J. McCarthy the majority of the reps Saturday. There's an upside from if he performs well, then that potentially could increase interest throughout the league. There's also upside of the more reps he gets, the more he can develop as a guy who needs to see kind of the live look at it. But there's also, if J.J. McCarthy is playing behind the twos and the threes, it's very likely that it doesn't look spectacular or that he is susceptible to positions that could lead him down the road of potential injury behind a less convicted offensive line. So I can probably see it both ways, but they've talked so much, Kevin O'Connell has in particular, about wanting to maximize J.J. McCarthy's development. And it's hard for me to then square the idea that it wouldn't benefit him to see coverage, to be in that environment, to have to make decisions, to have to stand in the pocket and make throws. Like, if you're not going to provide that opportunity, then does that lend itself to the idea that you are doing everything you can to develop him optimally?
What are you hearing? I think we talked about this several weeks ago, but what are you hearing now that we get closer to the regular season and teams that are trying to, maybe cleverly add a little piece here, a little piece there that can make a difference? Of the named people that are out there, and I don't know how many of them are left, is there anybody you think that we're sniffing around when it comes to adding more depth or other options outside pass rush? Are we hearing anything there? Do you expect any kind of move by the Purple?
No, I mean, the answer I would have given you was pass rush, because if you just continue to look at the depth behind Dallas Turner and Andrew Van Ginkel, I mean, it is a bunch of undrafted, former undrafted players in Tyler Batty, Bo Richter, Chad Chambliss, guys who you're just not going to be able to rely upon to rush the passer consistently if they're needed in a pinch. But, I mean, I juxtapose that conversation with there's not a ton of available options of guys that make a ton of sense. Leonard Floyd is still out there as a veteran pass rusher. And so perhaps that's something that makes sense. But the other two positions, Dan, that I think are very much warranting of conversation, first would be safety. In the aftermath of the Jamal Adams injury, I mean, the current slotted starters at safety, and they usually play with three of them, would be Josh Metellus, Jay Ward, and Theo Jackson. You're really betting a lot if that's your starting trio. I still think the Harrison Smith thing is undecided, so perhaps that's an avenue. And then the center position, I mean, Blake Brandel has been a little spotty from a snapping perspective, and this is one we've talked about a lot, but I also find it pretty hard to believe that you could bring in a center at this point in the calendar who could get up to speed with this very complex offense.
Yeah, a little late. Alec Lewis covers the Vikings for The Athletic. Did the Bears pick up Marcus Davenport?
They did. He's now, I believe he's hit three prongs of the NFC North in recent years: Minnesota, Detroit, and now Chicago.
I don't know what he had. Does he have anything left?
Well, when he plays, which is a rarity, he definitely can display some juice, but it was never, I'd say, after his stint in Minnesota, and then the fact that he signed with Detroit, the idea of him returning. But it would be quite something, Dan, for him to sign with Chicago and then play 17 games and contribute. That would be something.
I'll ask you. I think I might ask Seifert this question. I can't remember who it was I asked this because it kind of intrigues me. The wild card to me is Teasley, right? Because he's the big change, the new general manager from outside this organization. And we've already seen maybe some aggressiveness from him that perhaps we didn't expect right off the bat. But when it comes to how this quarterback thing's going to play out, to me, he's the wild card. Because if, for whatever reason, by the end of camp, the Vikings proclaim that Carson Wentz is our backup, and JJ, we still love him. We still believe in him long term. But for the purposes of this year, he's number 3. There's that question of, is Teasley more likely to be a GM who says, let's just cut the cord? If indeed that's where we're going to go, it has a chance to get disruptive or a chance to get a little bit chippy. I'm not invested in him because I didn't pick him. So I don't have to have that feeling that maybe those who were here when that happened might have. I believe in cutting the cord if the time has come. Do you get any sense about the Teasley factor in terms of what impact he will have on whatever direction the Vikings take when it comes to JJ?
Yeah, my sense is Nolan Teasley is a very pragmatic guy. I think he's very sharp, and I think he is a guy in that role who is going to want to maximize value and create depth. Like, I think, and probably the creating depth part is one of their internal front office priorities right now with where this roster currently sits after the years of drafts that they've had. But as far as, J.J. McCarthy, I do think it becomes a question of, yes, you want to maximize value, but at what expense? And so if the Vikings internally get to a place where they believe that the presence of J.J. McCarthy for the quarterback room or the locker room or what have you affects the opportunity for the present team and what they can accomplish and to a level that is important and significant, then I think they would probably, bite the bullet on value. Now, it hasn't been my understanding that it's gotten to that place internally to this point. Yeah, right. And I would also just say and reiterate that as much as Nolan Teasley does arrive with fresh eyes from the outside, Kevin O'Connell's voice on quarterback matters will weigh heaviest within this organization until I'm told otherwise. And so I it's not to minimize Nolan Teasley's voice and role, but it is to underscore, italicize, bold, underline the fact that that what happens at the quarterback position will have Kevin O'Connell's fingerprints on it primarily.
Why is the Chihuahua the most popular breed of dog in the state of Alabama?
Is it?
That's what Gaardsy researched.
I cannot say I'm an elite dog breed mind when it relates to Alabama, popularity. I also can't say over the course of my upbringing that I recognize many Chihuahuas around town, but maybe you could just say Alabama's a Chihuahua state as opposed to a Rottweiler state. I don't know. Maybe that reflects the way I go about the job. I don't know.
Yeah, I found that. I was a little surprised. Then I thought maybe Bear Bryant was a big yip dog guy. I don't remember what was the Bear a dog guy?
I don't know if the Bear was a dog guy, but if he was, I would have imagined he was a Rottweiler type of guy.
Exactly, me too. Yeah, exactly. That's what surprised me about it. I don't know, but there's been a lot of Chihuahua talks, basically, inspired by the interesting commentary from the head coach for sure. And by the way, one texter is telling us that if you really want to talk about, if you're looking for a less yippy Chihuahua mix, if you're going to go mix, try mixing a Chihuahua with a bull mastiff. That sounds intriguing to me. That sounds like it might have some heft to it and a little less yip.
No, that's good to know, and I'm very glad that I'm now that's top of mind. And
yes.
and honestly, maybe I'll spend the evening just diving into the types of breeded Chihuahua possibilities. I mean, that could be a Wednesday evening activity. I'm not going to lie.
You've done a lot worse. And especially
Oral
with,
history.
like, film watching.
Why not? Yeah.
For the record, first of all, there are a lot of dogs named Bear in Alabama,
of
or
course.
were named Bear.
Sure.
Like here, everybody I knew, including me, had a pet named Kirby, going back to Puckett in the 90s. For the record, legendary football coach Paul Bear Bryant owned a pet dachshund. Dachshund.
Yeah.
Man. Named.
So he didn't have the Dachshund Chihuahua blend that we heard about earlier.
See,
and that one, I mean, again, like that was out of the blue. I didn't know you could blend those two, but I also, again, the pollination of the dog breeds, this is out of my
It's a new
comfort
world
zone.
on
I
that.
just can't lie.
The dog was named Doc, by
Doc.
the way. Yes.
I don't think of Bear as a dachshund guy. To me, again, I just think something a more substantial animal. No offense to the dachshund community. Just if there'd be Bear Bryant, man, I would just be something a little bit bigger, a little bit more traditional. I didn't see a dachshund coming. I really didn't.
No, I'm with you. No offense to the dachshund community is one of my favorite quotes I've heard today. So that was great.
We've had a lot of those for sure. So tomorrow, again, more of the same when it comes to the joint practice, or is there a different emphasis tomorrow? What are we expecting?
Well, I do think, look, like, and I talked to Brian O'Neill extensively afterwards about this, like, it does feel like, or it felt like to me, they left the practice field, the offensive line in particular, like not feeling great about where they wanted the run game to be. So I will be curious tomorrow. Yes, we'll talk about the quarterbacks, but like there has been so much talk and conversation about this run game, and I think rightfully so because of what it's going to need to be regardless of the quarterback position. So I'm curious to see tomorrow if that phase of the team looks better. And then defensively, I mean, look, like I don't, if I walk out of practice tomorrow feeling like, man, Brian Flores didn't blitz at all. Like I feel like you know what you're going to get from a defensive perspective. So for me, the offensive lens will probably be where I'm focused.
One last item for you, Alec Lewis. Have I missed it? Has the head coach given us any indication about the quarterback scheduling for the actual preseason game between these two teams on Saturday?
No, he has not.
Okay.
No, and frankly, probably should have asked today kind of the plan, but I'll do my behind-the-scenes digging to see what I can find. But no, I mean, look, and it is really interesting to me, frankly, because if, for example, you don't want to play J.J. McCarthy for health reasons. That means you're probably throwing Carson Wentz in, and what does that mean for his value? If you don't want to play either guy, then can you rely on Max Brosmer, who couldn't play in full last weekend because of a thumb injury? And then if it's none of them, then you're going to have to bring somebody in to then apply this complex offense on the fly. It's not like the most advantageous situation to be in, I wouldn't say.
Thank you for the time, as always. I won't see you tomorrow because, again, they scheduled this thing in such a way that it doesn't make sense for us to broadcast live from there in the late afternoon. I'm almost taking that personally, that KOC is going out of his way to make sure there's nothing to come to see between 3 and 6:30. So we'll just have to live vicariously through you again tomorrow.
No, I appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, there's a chance, or there's probably not a high probability, but there's a chance he was attentive enough to ensure that the perch was empty, for tomorrow. But no, I appreciate you guys having me. It should be interesting. It always is. And I'm going to go study the dog breed. So I appreciate it.
We'll talk next week. Alec Lewis covering the National Football League, specifically the Vikings, for Johnny Krasinski's Athletic. That's why we call him Johnny Athletic. 6 o'clock half hour. That's coming up next.
You're listening to Barrero.
Gaardsy, give us updates on the big Greg Coleman event here. What people need to know as we approach our final 30 minutes, an annual tradition.
Yeah, the current bid, $4,000. Greg Coleman just had his celebrity golf event, his big fundraiser that he does every year for the YMCA. And as is custom, we are today auctioning off a Vikings road trip extravaganza. Thanks to Mr. Coleman, that includes round-trip airfare, Tickets to the Tampa Bay Vikings game. That's on Sunday, September 27th. You get pregame field passes. You get dinner with Greg. You get a 2-night hotel stay and signed merchandise as well. We are at $4,000.
Nice.
It has been upped here since we started the show. 651-989-5326 before the end of the show. $4,000 right now.
Will he throw in a personal pregame preach?
I think you probably get that at dinner.
It's a pretty good deal.
The night before.
That's brilliant right there.
Nothing like a good preach.
Remember the salad days, especially the Chad and Barrero show, where we would have these online auctions and we need a little boost? We'd get to back in the days we were on till 7, we'd get to maybe 10 to 7. And we needed a boost. And then the hotline would ring and it'd be Jimmy Jam, doubling whatever the previous pledge was, adding another 5,000 or 10,000 to the coffers.
Amazing.
Those are the salad days. By the way, don't forget, hit the talk back if you'd like a chance to win a pair of tickets to see Jimmy and Terry as they perform at the Great Minnesota Get-Together in the Grandstand that first Saturday night. Each day, we've been giving away a pair of tickets to that concert and entry to the State Fair as well. Go to the iHeartRadio app, click on the mic, and hit the talk back. And if you are a lucky winner, then you will indeed be so rewarded as well.
You know what the Ravens were able to do because we were not at the exclusive Vikings audio network?
Did they
perch?
take it over?
No.
Oh.
They apparently were able to go to Mall of America and go on rides at Nickelodeon Universe.
Really?
Looking at an Instagram right now. A couple of them are on that Flying Turtles ride.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
looks like they're having a great time.
They got into it, huh?
Yeah, looks like they're having a great time.
You're welcome. Kevin in Eden Prairie, I love KOC's comment about the noisy dog that doesn't show up in the moment versus the quiet dog that gets it done and lets their ability speak for itself. I have a dog, very loving pup, 50 pounds, 12 years old, this coming Christmas season. He's a touch slower these days, but still plenty of puppy attitude. Never makes a noise unless someone walks through our front door. One deep bark is what we get, and then maybe some whines because whoever has entered isn't petting him quickly enough. I hate little dogs, yippers and ankle biters that are the loudest things imaginable, that are also the perfect size to punt. Wow. That's aggressive.
Yeah, that is. Don't
Great show,
punt a
guys.
dog.
Thanks for the daily entertainment, and all the best to you and to yours. I'm wondering if anybody has bred, I guess I should say, a Chihuahua with a bull mastiff.
I'm sure somebody's gotten it.
Somebody's got it. I wonder what it looks like, first of all. And secondly, I would assume it would be a little less yippy, don't you think? Realistically?
I'll cede to you. You're the dog expert. Like I said, I know one breed.
Yeah.
I know the retriever.
That's it.
And that's really what I know.
That's a good one to know.
Yeah, he's a good dog.
What else do we have here? We got a lot of dog text coming in. Nick Saban was definitely a Chihuahua guy.
Let's see if he and Miss Terry had a dog.
Wonder if they did.
Do you like how little I know about a dog that I tried to pronounce dachshund with the CH?
Oh, yeah. What did you call it?
Like a dachshund?
Dachshund or dachshund, whatever?
Yeah.
Maybe that's correct. I don't know.
I don't think it is.
It's possible.
It does. Nick Saban.
Rottweilers are an underrated, great breed, big, goofy teddy bears when raised correctly.
Nick Saban and Miss Terry have a golden doodle.
Golden doodle. That seems too cute
Named Abby.
for Saban, doesn't it?
Yeah, but Miss Terry's running the show. Just asking.
That's true. That's a good point. That might have.
He's one of those college coaches that does the thing where they pretend like their wife runs the show.
Oh, that
I love it. Well, I got to ask Miss Terry about it. I'm sure you've really consulted her. You moved around the country 500 times. I'm sure that was Miss Terry's dream.
You're not necessarily buying that.
It's worked out well for Miss Terry. I mean, they're doing very well.
The chief checked in earlier when we were talking about our astute or asinine question. Americans would be 20% happier if they had a store near their home.
What'd the chief say?
Here's the chief's retort. I remember the corner store, candy store, record shop, grocery, and the neighborhood bodega. Back in the day, it was hella cool to walk to the store with a friend for yourself, a neighbor, or mom and dad. There it is. It's a good thing.
I just like how I can hear the chief say that.
Use those words.
It sounds better when he says it than when you or I would say hella cool.
That's true. That's pretty much undeniable.
Yeah, I used to ride my bike up to Clancy's, That was the drugstore. Now it's a Walgreens, which is great, but it was
okay.
Clancy's store back in the day.
That's okay. We have some Beagle fans out there.
Okay.
The Beagle.
It's a unique dog.
That's a hound dog.
Yeah.
Right?
They look funny.
Yes.
Waddling around.
A little bit, yeah. They're not, I don't think they're quite as wide as the Basset Hound. How many people have bloodhounds?
Want me to Google that too? I don't know.
Yeah, bloodhound. I don't think it's a real popular. I don't think it's a very popular breed, I wouldn't say.
Wouldn't hunters have bloodhounds?
Dan, I've owned 3 former racing greyhounds. They are lovely, mellow dogs with charming and eccentric personalities. They can be high energy in short bursts, but they sleep 18 hours a day.
Lucky.
They're also goofy. Google Greyhound DERP. I don't even know what that means. Hope it's not anything obscene. There was a story a few years back here in Arizona. This is from Joe in Tucson. About a roving pack of wild chihuahuas terrorizing the Maryvale neighborhood in the Phoenix area due to overpopulation/breeding. I'm not making this up. There was a local news story that went viral if you look it up. That would be scary to me. A wild pack of chihuahuas terrorizing a neighborhood full of kids?
That's not what you need.
Oh, my God.
We have a lot of turkeys in our neighborhood. They just kind of roam through.
Yeah, a lot of turkeys. Western burbs.
It's interesting enough to just see turkeys roaming around. I don't know if a chihuahua pack would be fun.
If you had to make a sizable, you're not a big betting man, but if you had to make, you were required to make a sizable bet right now, in which you'd have to bet on whether J.J. McCarthy or Carson Wentz would start the regular season as the number 2 quarterback. Which way are you going? Who are you betting on? Not because you want to, but because you have to make a bet as the number 2 as the backup.
I'm betting on J.J.
You're sticking with J.J.
But here's where I think it might change. If something happens to Kyler, do they flip it? Do they keep him at 2? Do they keep J.J. at 2?
Until they really need to think about it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's another way to do it.
Do they say, just for optics?
Yes.
And it might not even have to be this. J.J. might earn it.
It's an easier way for them to manage, so to speak, the situation.
That's
right.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So you go into that Packer game and you say, J.J. McCarthy is the backup quarterback. Let's say Kyler gets hurt week 1. Then let's see what happens. That's when I think it could potentially get interesting, especially if J.J. continues to not play great. And Carson just kind of does what Carson does, which is what a veteran should do, just keep the trains on the tracks, as Robert Smith always used to say, Denny used to say. That's where I think now you've got the cover of you have a healthy starting quarterback.
Yes.
There's no reason to create, because the media, speaking about hounds, the media is hounding KOC about it, right?
Yes.
After every practice.
See for today again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So any update on the number 2 quarterback spot? No one cares more about the number 2 quarterback spot than us right now. No one is having to answer this many questions about the backup quarterback position. Is that fair to say? Probably.
It is. Yeah.
So I think it's smart to just kind of keep it. It's prudent. Bay.
Yeah.
It's go, JJ's our guy. We'll evaluate everything. Next question.
You can always deal with the rest of it later. There's no question about that. Late State Fair t-shirt suggestion: Sharks and Jets, Chihuahuas and Rots, Wolves and 5. Not a bad thought. Let's come back, wrap up the show, remind you who you might have missed today, who was off this week, and we'll prepare you for a very busy, controversial Thursday show as well when we return.
Bumper to bumper with...
I want to thank a very deep and distinguished group of guests. Well, actually not that deep, but still distinguished. Alec Lewis joined us between 5:30 and 6 o'clock today. A lot of talk. What did we talk about early? What was the start of the program?
Early, we talked about the Twins sweep. We talked about the Vikings practice. We talked about the Wolves' crucial stretch of 18 games.
I think part of it, too, early was the frustration that our best hopes for being at TCO for both days of joint practices dashed because the timing got switched on us.
We did do a little complaining that way.
And that given that everything was going to be done before 2 o'clock, it didn't make a lot of sense to go yesterday, or today, I should say, and it's probably not going to make much sense to go tomorrow either.
You know what the best shows do, though?
What's that?
They adjust.
You have to.
Who do we have tomorrow?
What's the name of the Chihuahua we have on tomorrow?
Aaron Gleeman.
That's right.
In studio.
Gleeman doesn't strike me as Gleeman's a cat guy, right? As I recall?
Yes, there's cats in his home.
So I don't think he'd be necessarily a big Chihuahua guy, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure. We'll find out tomorrow in studio. Timing's good because the Twins did respond nicely. They sweep the Braves. And we will get this probably be our last chance to vet with Gleeman for a while because he doesn't like coming to the fair.
Yep.
And we're about to go for an extended period from the Great Minnesota Get-Together. So it's a covenant catch-up tomorrow that makes some sense. We'll probably open up Dr. Dan's inbox tomorrow, too. That will be the plan. And as you say, a week from tomorrow, we start from the Great Minnesota Get-Together as we are indeed want to do. A lot of Chihuahua talk on the program today. A little preview of a big showdown game for your Minnesota Lynx that will be on the Fan. Is that correct?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock tonight.
Yes, against the Valkyries.
They're in second place, right?
They are
in the conference.
Yes, they're 15-4 at home.
Yeah, they're a good story, man.
They are a success story in the world of expansion.
It's true.
In the W, what they did last year and what they're doing now.
Yeah, they're trying to Vegas it from hockey, right? That's what they're basically trying to do.
A little bit.
We'll see how far they indeed get. What else did we cover today? Well, really, those are the main issues. As I said, tomorrow should be inbox day in addition to Gleeman in studio. Kessler took the week off. We do expect to have him among a cast of many from the Great Minnesota Get-Together, right? There's going to be a bunch of people this year, and as soon as you have more details on the schedule, you will certainly pass that along for people who I know are waiting. Craig from Boston, Massachusetts. JJ is a starter. He's laying the gauntlet down. He is not giving up on, I assume he means McCarthy.
Yes.
Because, I mean, he wouldn't be talking about Justin Jefferson there, would he? I don't think.
That would be an obvious statement.
It would be, wouldn't it?
You wouldn't really need to say it.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Make Wentz the relief quarterback. That's from Craig in Boston. I don't think coaches work that way anymore. Once upon a time they did, and I kind of liked it. But I think they're too definitive about who's in what role. It's all too it's programmed more, I would guess, in this day and age. And then I meant to star a text. Let me see if I can scroll down to it, because it's good homework, really good homework for tomorrow's broadcast, if I can get there. Arizona, here it is. Post-Bud, how would you rank the Vikings head coaches from least word saladsy to most word saladsy? He's got his own ideas.
Yeah.
That's a good homework assignment. There's some, I don't want to be too recency biased and make it too obvious, but it's a good fodder. We could have some fun with that. Least word saladsy to most word saladsy post Bud. Bud would be under the classification of not word saladsy at all, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but Bud was too direct.
Pretty direct and
didn't always necessarily give you great quotes, and could sometimes not, be willing to give the Jackals anything. But I wouldn't think word saladsy comes to mind with Bud.
Nope.
Right?
No.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair to say. A lot of dog talk today. And in a little bit of, we played a good edition of Astute or Asinine to the notion that